Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It's me. Oh, it's me. It's a little blurry there. It's Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is Legit Fantasy Basketball from the Legit Fantasy Sports channel. Joining me for the show, Coach TJ. TJ, how are we tonight?
Terrific, King Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. NBA has been a lot of fun. It's really been one of those things where I'm like, I still can't understand how the Minnesota Timberwolves keep coming so close or keep staying in the game or keep beating teams. Like, what the hell's going on with this? That's what I love about it. With us, of course, is Genius Kev. Kev, how you been doing crunching all those numbers?
Doing very good, King. Looking forward to another basketball show with Coach TJ. He's always illuminating.
Yes, that's a good word. I like that. Illumination.
SAT early.
Well, let me start with. Here's what I want to start with. I want to start with Andre Drummond. He's got. There's 16. Well, there's 5 teams that they keep talking about who might sign Andre Drummond before the deadline. Now, am I wrong? My son is a Laker fan like I am, and he was like, "We're one of the teams. If we get Andre Drummond, it's all done. It's all done." And I'm like, is it? Is Andre Drummond really that missing piece that's going to get a team over the hump? TJ?
It depends on what the team is. I don't think he's a piece for the Lakers to get over the hump.
No.
When I look at the Lakers, I don't say, you know what you're missing? Andre friggin' Drummond. But, he's a player, though. I mean, he's a factor. He changes the dynamic of a team. Some of the top-tier teams I don't think really need him. I don't know what 5 that you're looking at. I mean, I don't think Utah has a spot for him. I don't think the Lakers need him. I don't think the Bucks need him. I know Philly doesn't need him. So he's going to be in one of those teams that's a title contender. I don't know if he's really a guy that's going to put a team from, say the semifinals in the Eastern Conference to the NBA Finals. I don't think that's the case. But, where he goes is going to have an effect on the league.
Yeah. King, a point, I guess, on the Lakers as a possible landing spot, like your son saying. I don't think I agree with TJ. I don't think it's
I'm having trouble with the internet sounds. Did anybody else have?
I heard everything TJ said. TJ, could you hear me?
Clear as day. Just
Okay.
It's only Mike that's in and out. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as the Lakers go, what about with the Anthony Davis injury?
It depends what the injury is, and I don't think
Can you guys hear it?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
I can hear.
I don't know. I think Anthony Davis is such of a one of a kind player that if Anthony Davis isn't 80% in the playoffs, they're not going to win a damn thing.
If I'm silent, it's because literally.
Yeah, this is classic.
Oh yeah. If I'm silent, but you're never silent. That's
All right. Can you guys? The poses that you guys are in right now on the free screen are hilarious. Like, I can't wait till you guys see the pose that TJ's in right now. Like, it's such a great. He's like this.
Come on.
Ah, I changed.
That's pretty
Listen,
good.
the weather's obviously playing havoc because you guys are jumping in and out. We're doing max headroom over here. My point with Andre Drummond was I heard he was talking to the Raptors net.
Yeah.
What? Kev?
I said yes.
Kevin, are you with me? Is anybody with me? Can anybody hear me right now?
Yeah. We can hear you.
I got to figure out
how TJ and I can hear each other and see each other.
I keep breaking up. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what's going on. I can't control. You know this? I can't control the weather. I wish I could.
I'll tell you what. If we're going to talk about Toronto,
all right. So I can't hear you guys, but sometimes I'll just truck through it because that doesn't matter if I can hear you. So,
can you read the chat?
So you think Toronto would be the team that Drummond would be the finishing piece, or help be a finishing?
I think he'll help them. I think he'll help them a lot because Toronto hasn't been playing bad basketball in the last couple of weeks, and I feel like a guy like Drummond fits a need.
Kev?
See, he doesn't realize that me and you were just talking right now, and
Yeah.
he's not there. He has no idea.
Yep, I'm hearing you.
All right, yeah. So Toronto would be a team that can bring them from, say, they go from the 6 or 7 seed wherever they are now, and they turn into a team that might get home court, or they're a team you just don't want to play in the first round. That would be an effective move for them to make, and the GM in Toronto has the balls to make it too. Like he would, that would be a real impact trade in the Eastern Conference if Drummond ended up in Toronto. Yeah, I'd be excited about that.
So what does it bump them up though? Like what does it do for them? Like does it bump them up to another spot? Does it elevate them now to like go deeper?
I mean, right now they're in the 7 seed. They're behind Indiana, Boston, and New York. I can see them after the All-Star break catching all 3 of those teams and getting into the 4th seed. I don't think anyone's catching Brooklyn, Philly, and Milwaukee up top. But now you put Toronto in the 4th seed and gets a home round in the playoffs, as opposed to being one of the 6 or 7 seed. It would be a good move for them.
Okay, see now that I buy. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing I did last thing on you, Kev. You're gonna be the Detroit Pistons. And TJ, you're going to be the New York Knicks. In a trade, TJ, you got Derrick Rose. And Kev, in that trade, you got Dennis Smith Jr. And a 2021 second-round pick. Now, both of you, take your position. Tell me why you won this small trade. TJ, you're the Knicks. You got Derrick Rose in the trade. Tell me why you won this small trade.
Well, Smith clearly wasn't happy. Smith clearly didn't like playing the kind of basketball we're playing. Derrick Rose already knows what to expect. One thing about Derrick, he's not the MVP candidate, Derrick Rose, but he's going to give me more than Smith now. And as a Knick, I'm the Knicks. I'm trying to make the playoffs because it's been quite a while since we made the playoffs. So I think bringing this piece into the equation firmly puts us in line to make a playoff, make the playoffs. And plus I got this, this bad draft pick. Sometimes it's just best to cut your loss. Smith never turned out to be worth the pick, and they booed the shit out of it when it happened, and they were right to do so in New York. And see you later. Happy trails. Give me D-Rose for a year or 2.
Damn. Genius. You got Dennis Smith Jr. and a second-round pick for an aging Derrick Rose. Tell me how you won.
I think you just said how I won. I got a pick for an aging Derrick Rose. Obviously we're going nowhere. Rose isn't what he used to be. He has ties in New York, so ship him out. We'll take the pick. We'll take the player. Probably not a huge part of the future either, but at least I'm clearing some dead wood. The Pistons can really only be trying to clear dead wood and clear salaries and get rid of older players and see what they're gonna do in the next couple of seasons. So I won just because I got rid of him and I got something back for him.
See, I think Derrick Rose is the type of player that, first of all, he's solid. I always loved D Rose. I mean, I love the young D Rose, but I think that you're right, TJ. He is the type of guy that will play over his head for like a New York Knicks like playoff run. Like he'll have that one last over his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
all in.
Give you 25 in a big game when you don't expect it. But I'll tell you, from Detroit's standpoint, there's nothing to gain by having Derrick Rose on your roster.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing to gain. The kid you got in the trade, who knows? Sometimes a change of scenery is just what a guy like that needs to get some extra minutes. I mean, look what Jeremy Grant has turned into. He's a legit pro. He wasn't good when he had drafted him, and then they moved to. Sometimes it's just greener pastures. I think that was one of those rare trades where you don't really. Each team can say we got what we wanted, and it's a win-win for both teams.
All right. So let me switch to another guy that's got trade options. You got 3 teams that are linked to him. That's Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is linked to the Heat, the Nuggets, and the Warriors. Do you think he'll be moved? And secondly, which team would you like to see him move to? Heat, Nuggets, or Warriors? TJ, you get that first.
I guess the place I'd like to see him go most would be the Warriors. And not so much for this season. I think next season because he's terrific at passing the basketball, and Clay's going to come back and not forget how to shoot. So just from something to look at, like I would like to see that ingredient added to Golden State because I don't think their window is quite crashed yet. I mean, Clay has to be healthy, but the young kid's getting a lot of good minutes right now. And then you add Alonzo Ball to that, they could be an exciting team that's dangerous on the perimeter. They get out in transition as well as anybody still. So that would be the team I'd like them to go to. Miami, I don't think that's going to work with him in Miami. I wouldn't want to see that. I feel like it would be bad for his career because
career ruiner.
Yeah, that's just not the spot for him.
But the Nuggets might be a nice fit. That might be fun.
It could be, I guess.
But I guess going to the Warriors, here's the thing. I think Lonzo Ball's getting better.
Huh?
I think Lonzo Ball keeps getting better. Like I think the kid is just a kid. Like and he's gotten better every year. So I think that like maybe the best is ahead of him. Kev, genius. Yeah, you're a genius.
He's only 22, right? He's 22. He's got 1 year left on this deal, and he's a restricted free agent. So you could wherever he goes, they could sign him. Sign him up. I'm curious. I like the way TJ went through the fit on the Warriors, but is there enough? Like, are there enough basketballs for Clay, Steph, and Ball, or do you see it as him coming off the bench, or do you see him run a three guard lineup?
He'll just pass.
No, I think he takes the ball. I mean, they found a way to make it work with Durant and Clay and Steph. So sharing the basketball is not they have a good culture there when it comes to moving the basketball. And he's the kind of guy that he doesn't need to take many shots. He doesn't even need to dribble the damn ball up the floor. He's just a good basketball player. The oddest fit of the bunch, I don't think it would work in Miami. You mentioned Denver. In watching Denver, they've just played Boston, so they're fresh on my mind. They the big guy brings the ball up the floor. It's bizarre how their style of basketball. I don't know between Jamal Murray and Jokic. I don't know what Ball does there. Like run the second unit. I don't know. To me, that wouldn't make sense for them based on the way that they play. But I think in Golden State, they would find a way to make it work because they're all unselfish.
I could see. Nope. I definitely could. Go ahead, Kev. I definitely could see that.
No, it'd be interesting. It would be a lot of fun to watch. I think that would be really, 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 really cool to watch. And who knows? It might, like you guys said, he's getting better, and being around that crew would probably, would probably help a lot. Like with that, with Kerr and Steph and I said Draymond, but I meant Clay. But and Draymond. Apparently, Draymond's really stepping up this year in a leadership role. That would probably be really cool to watch Ball kind of continue to mature. That would be a great spot.
It might add some years to Steph's career because he can't. He's a small dude. He can't bring the basketball up for another 6 years. Like at some point, he's going to have to shift to off the ball and take less of a pounding in the paint and this kind of thing. If you bring in another point guard that allows him to have some reps where he's just running to the corner and spotting up, it might add some years to his career. And I think we all like to watch Steph play as long as he can because Steph's a joy. He really is.
Yeah, I agree. And what this just made me think of is the Durant trade to the Warriors or the free agency, whatever you want to call it. That was the worst moment in basketball for me in the last couple of years. Like I detested that move so much. I felt like he was taking the easiest possible way out. And it was like, why would you want that ring? Like, to me, that ring is not going to be the same as another ring because it just seems a good – well, it doesn't just seem, but you're joining the championship team to try to win another one. But one trade that bothers me even more to this day is Chris Paul to the Lakers. I'm at a bazaar at Stephen-only school with my son. We're buying little Christmas gifts or something like that. It might have been a book fest. And then I hear that the commissioner has decided to nullify the trade. To this day, I still don't know what happened. Can you help me understand why Chris Paul didn't go to the Lakers? It was a trade. It went through, but TJ?
I think, wasn't there a weird situation with the ownership?
Yeah. And
the league was technically running the ownership or almost was like an agent of – it was almost like in probate court when they had signed like an administrative estate. So now you got and the league was worried about being, taken to court for collusion because, of course, shipping Paul to the marquee franchise that needed him was just not – it was just bizarro world. It really was.
Yeah.
And that's why the league needs to just run the league and not be, executor of basketball programs. But yeah, that must have hurt for being a Laker fan. Like that came and went, and it's like, whoa, we got Chris Paul. It's great. And that was when he was at his his stock was highest.
Still bothers me. I still don't understand what the hell happened. Like he was a Laker for like a split second, and then it's like the league owner said, "Nah, I'm not gonna let you guys have him," and that was it.
Yeah, because it's what TJ said. The team they didn't have an owner; they were in flux with the ownership. So the league was like the guarantor or something for them. But the weird thing is, the GM, the acting GM, made the trade. It wasn't like the Lakers traded with themselves. They had a GM, they had a basketball, like a whole basketball operation. They pulled the trigger, made the deal, and then it was like, whoa, this is going to be timeout. It's going to be too lopsided. The Lakers are going to have too much talent. We can't allow this trade. It's like in fantasy football when you get a group of when somebody makes or basketball, whatever, it's fantasy sports. When someone makes a lopsided trade and people petition the commissioner to reverse the trade, even though there's no collusion. There wasn't collusion. They just, it was just a bad trade.
Yeah.
Well, who even know if it was a bad trade?
Yeah.
Sucks. It's one of those
That was
things
crazy.
that sucks. Awful. Now, hey, let's go to Draymond Green. Now, hopefully you both have listened to him, that spiel he gave. Now, is he wrong? Because he sounded pretty correct to me, and I don't usually agree with Draymond every time. But this one seemed pretty dead on. Thoughts? What do you guys think about this? TJ?
Yeah, so here's the thing that I feel like this only happens in the NBA where the players feel like they're on equal footing with the owners. Like I don't feel like in the NFL that doesn't happen. Like if ownership says you're sitting because we're tanking, you're sitting, and there's no press conference after. I do understand it on like a moral level where it's like, wait a minute, you guys can make me sit the bench for 3 weeks while you try and trade me, but then at the same time, if I demand a trade, I'm the biggest punk on the block. And I get that, but it's because the NBA has created itself to where the players and ownership feel like they're on the same level. And in reality, they're not. You're an employee. So I understand if I'm trying to trade a guy, I don't want him to twist an ankle 2 weeks before the trade deadline when I'm trying to move him. And so I understand that part of it. I think Draymond makes a lot of really good points. My thing is this. These NBA guys, I don't mind when guys demand trades because you're not happy where you are. I don't feel like this should be like baseball in the 60s where it's like a lifetime contract. Here's my thing, though. When you sign a multi-year deal and you want out after the first year and you handcuff an entire fan base and an entire franchise, to me, that's not right either. So when you're James Harden, you sign this friggin' Uber max contract, and then you say 1 year in, hey, I don't like it. I need to be out of here or I'm going to throw a tantrum. You just destroyed that franchise. Like, destroyed it single-handedly, and I don't like that. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, what are you gonna do? Put everybody on a 1 year contract and then reset every year? I don't know.
I think it's that they front load the contract so much. These guys, after the first couple of years, they're not receiving as much as they did the first couple because that's where it was all front loaded, and now they're like, I want out, so I can go someplace else and start a new contract with and have it front loaded.
And I know we're talking basketball, it's a basketball show, but the parallels in the NFL right now are crazy. Like you got Wentz. Wentz didn't even play one play of that extension he just signed, and he got traded. He wanted out of Philly, got traded. And same thing with Deshaun Watson. Just signed a huge extension in April. Now he wants to get traded. Like the athletes, like there's no. It's weird. Like what TJ said. You sign that deal, and you're already 6 months later, a year later, your mind is completely flipped. It's the same organization. Not that much changes in a year. That's the part I don't like. But I see a lot of Draymond's points. But I can't get behind somebody where you sign up for that and then immediately you want out. I can't get behind that.
And the NFL is like funny money anyway. NFL contracts, you see this guy signs a 7-year, $200 million contract, and they'll tell you right out, he's not going to see about $180 million of that. Okay, so what are we doing? But in the NBA, those contracts used to be pretty much what they are.
Yep.
And you would go from, you would play, say you get a 3-year contract. Now you might be an expiring contract worth trading in the last year of the deal, but you honored the deal. If players aren't going to honor the deal, then that crushes a franchise. When it's a franchise. It does.
Yeah. It's funny. I wonder if there'll be some backlash, like on the owners. The owners aren't stupid, right? They're the billionaires. They're not stupid. I wonder if it's going to end up coming to, hey, you guys want out in your demanding trades and everything. So we're going to start going the NFL. We're going to go a little more the NFL route. We're not going to fully guarantee the contracts, and then it would at least sort of level the playing field, because in basketball you can't really get cut if you're a freaking disaster. Right, because you have to eat the money. It's a guaranteed contract, like you said. In the NFL, it's not guaranteed. You cut somebody, and you save money. But I wonder if there'll be some because there's got to be some kind of backlash, because these people aren't stupid.
Or some way to manipulate the signing bonus, or some way to recoup some of this loss.
Yeah.
And it sucks for the fan base. Now the other side of the coin is when the team is sitting a guy out for you because they're trying to trade him for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there dead money in the NBA like there is in the NFL?
They have different loopholes. They have like trade exceptions and all this kind of stuff. The salary cap in all these sports needs to be streamlined and be a little bit, so you don't need a finance degree to figure it out.
Because I never understood the NBA one. I never understood like where that difference was.
King, I started when we started talking about NBA, doing like an NBA show. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be the salary cap guy. I'm gonna learn the salary cap, and I started reading about it. And there's so many exceptions. There's a mid-level exception. There's a trade exception. If somebody's out for the year, there's another exception. There's the cap. Then there's the luxury tax. Then there's the hard cap. And there's max contract. And it's like it's like a crazy puzzle to fit all the pieces together. I haven't figured it out yet, and I've actually spent time trying it. But the thing I love about the NBA so much is that I forget who they named the rule after, where you can no longer trade consecutive first round picks.
Yeah,
I think that is insanity. That's insanity. It's like we're not going to let you run your own organization into the ground. You can't trade 2 first-round picks in a row. It's such a strange world.
You know who I blame, Kev?
I think that's Elgin Baylor. I think they did that rule for Elgin Baylor because he was blowing up the Clippers for like 20 years in the lottery.
Yeah.
But still, Kev, I blame China for that, Kev. I blame the NBA's dealings with China, the evil China. Dude, I'm saying that because that's come up like 4 or 5 times in the last 2 or 3 days, right? Where like they're just trying to like shoehorn in China into conversations, like especially when LeBron comes on, they're like trying to get anything they can to like stir that a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Well, China is second to racist in terms of jamming something in a conversation, because yesterday I was all about Draymond's making a good point, and I think everybody needs to try and think this through. And then right away it's like, because the owners are white and the players are black, and that's right when you lose me, man. Like at that point it's like, now your discussion is bullshit now, so I don't even want to have it, because the ownership is the ownership and the players are the players, and they'll do the same stuff for Steve Nash. You know what I mean? Steve Nash demands a trade that turns into a circus in Dallas. So, you know, this kind of stuff happens with these players. I don't know what the answer is, but I would like to see a guy, if he signs, Ben Simmons signs for 5 years, and clearly I want to know he's going to be there for 5 years.
Yeah.
I think when they get into the whole owner thing, Kev, the billionaires, what the difference is between them and like the players, I think a lot of people are really quick to be like, oh, it's because, you know, the owners are obviously they're usually white and the players aren't white, and that's where the whole, you know, the difference comes. And I just think it has to do with the fact that they're fucking old. Like, they're just old guys. They could be any color, but when you're old, you think differently completely. I think age is such a big thing. Like the Clippers owner, when he got in trouble for all the things he said on the thing, it was like recording an old man. Like, you don't like, you know what I mean? You don't know. I got an uncle who at Christmas Eve, stuff like that, he might say something that's inappropriate. I still love him. You just can't tape a guy that age and expect him to come up roses. So it's like, it's age too. There's like a whole way we did things, and things are changing now. And it's like,
here's the other thing, Kev. These guys became billionaires. They didn't become billionaires because of
exactly.
No, they're coming from businesses where every person, machine, building, and asset is just an asset.
Yep.
So they make business decisions to get to that level of billionaire. You got to almost be ruthless. in some sense. So when they're just looking at these guys as contracts on a piece of paper and assets that they have to value. So if they decide they're going to move on from a piece of real estate, right? You don't light it on fire. You don't risk a fire. So that's kind of the way that they approach it, and it's heartless and it's mean. But to me, that's kind of the way they get there. That's kind of the way they get there.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah,
ruthless.
My point is that it's less racial and more economical.
Yeah, it is. It's all economics for the owners. They
And
don't
age.
give a shit. There's like 5 owners in the league that probably care if the team wins.
That's true. That's the worst part. That is the worst part right there. That's
All
probably
they want to know is what the book value is, so they can borrow against it and make more money.
All right. We're gonna go with 2 things here. First, we're gonna go over the MVP race. I'll give you the top 10. You tell me which ones you think are in the wrong spots. If you want me to move one up, but let's just discuss that really quick. I'm gonna go 10 down to 1. You tell me if there's any issues. At 10 is Bradley Beal. At 9 is Giannis. Giannis. However you want to pronounce that. I go back and forth. 8.
And I lost you.
Lost you on 8.
Lost you on 8.
Go. 3 is Joel Embiid. 2
We
I
missed
have
from 8 to 3. We missed from 8 to 3.
Really?
Yeah,
I froze that whole
Yeah.
time. All right.
great. No
10
idea.
is, 10 is Bradley Beal. 9 is Giannis. 8 is LeBron James. 7 is Kawhi Leonard. 6 is James Harden. 5 is Steph Curry. 4 is Luka. 3 is Joel Embiid. 2 is Damian Lillard. And number 1 right now, if I was going to name an MVP, is Jokic. Thoughts?
So, where is this ranking from?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
This is me putting together my
Oh, all right.
going by the stats of what they've done in the last few weeks, and I can actually pull up their stats the last few weeks. These would be the guys in the running for the MVP. Who do you think would be MVP then? If you think it's way off?
No, I just thought some of the ordering was off. Like, I think LeBron should be much higher.
Really?
I think I would say LeBron and Steph are probably in the top. Both should be in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Embiid.
Lillard. They were like what? They were
Lillard's a tough
done.
one,
Now they're what? They were like what? Weren't they like almost less than 500? And now
they
they're
were
like
8 and 9, and now they're like 18 and 10 or something. You're right. So maybe I'd move up LeBron, Steph, Lillard, Embiid, and then probably Giannis is not going to win it no matter what. Neither is Beal. I don't think Kawhi is going to win it. I don't think Harden's going to win it. So I would say it's probably, and I don't think Luka's going to win it. So it's probably Steph, Embiid, Lillard, Jokic, whatever pronounce his name, Jokic.
yeah, Jokic. Nikola Jokic. That's who I like. I think he's my MVP if it ended right this minute.
TJ, you love him.
I mean, to me right now, the MVP is between LeBron and Embiid. I would say outside of your top 10 that I would have in your top 10, I would have Jaylen Brown in there somewhere.
Ooh.
And I would have Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Utah is unbelievable. They're going to get top 10 MVP votes. So I would say Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown should be in there. Who do you take off? I don't know. It's a tough list to take guys off of.
That's what I'm saying.
It's always tough when you're taking guys off, but Beal's got
Killing it.
I mean, although Washington's been competitive lately.
Yeah,
but
Dame can't come off. Harden, LeBron.
I'm more going over the last couple of weeks. I went more off of like not only what they're doing in the season, but who's been hot last couple of weeks. Because MVP voting usually goes like that. They play the hot hand towards the end,
I mean, Dame's hot. Dame's hot right now. He's been for a few weeks. I'll say this: LeBron's due for one, and I think that the voters owe him 1 or 2. So I think that unless he gets hurt or the Lakers fall apart, if people are looking to break a tie, I think LeBron's owed an MVP or 2. To be frank with you.
Yeah. And I mentioned the Anthony Davis injury earlier. If he steps up while Davis is out and they keep winning and he takes a bigger role, that's gonna be like rolling out the red carpet.
I agree with that. I think that look, I'm not saying this is in stone. I think they're gonna fluctuate, but
Who do you have between LeBron and Harden?
So LeBron's at 8. I go LeBron at 8, Kawhi at 7, Harden at 6. Then Steph Curry, Luka, Joel Embiid, Damian Lillard, and Jokic.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice list.
TJ, the stuff I'm reading about Steph, they're saying possibly best season ever. He's beating guys without being cute. He's still hitting those long range threes. They're they got Wiggins playing a good game. Draymond is all in. Like they might have like the team where they make the playoffs, make a little noise, and he pulls it out. I don't even love Steph, but I think he's got a decent shot. What do you think?
I mean, would you want to play Steph in the playoffs?
Oh,
Like
no.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even want to play Steph at KC Field.
Because
Forget the playoffs in Oakland.
really,
Casey Field, I'm pretty good.
But I'll take those terrible bouncy, double bouncy, triple bouncy aluminum rims.
Yeah.
But the thing, you make a good point about how he's not being cute. He's being much more efficient right now. And if he gets more efficient, he's going to play longer and longer because all that dancing and stuff, like he's not, I don't know if he's still quick enough to do all that on a consistent basis, like all those magic type ball handling moves. But right now he's on a mission. Like he's single-handed. I think, remember that week where there were people kind of talking down about him, like saying he was overrated? Since that week, if you could isolate that day and go to here, he's probably the best fantasy guard in the game, like during that time frame. And I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. Not whatsoever.
When you say that and you think about guys you wouldn't want to face in the playoffs, for me, the guy that I wouldn't want to face the most is Damian Lillard. Like Lillard's a guy I don't want on the other team, especially if there's like a last second shot to be taken. He scares the shit out of me. Like if I had to play him, man, that'd be one guy that's like, because he feeds off that whole.
He does
negative stuff around.
Yeah, no, he's a bad man. The only thing is they never actually pull these series out, which is the crazy thing about it. But I'm surprised that they're not interested in Drummond because I think he would have an effect on that team also.
Yeah.
But Dame's been he's been unbelievable, and I guess him and Steph are the top 2 fantasy guards over the last like 3 weeks.
Balling. So listen, I get this list that I read. And I loved it, and I want to go over it with you guys. It was the 50 best players from the 90s.
Interesting.
And it was because there's some players here that played only a little bit in the 90s. So, like, they're listed way down, and you're like, that's a better player. But then you go back and look and see what they did in the 90s, and they don't end up ranked so high. So, if you guys can hear me, I'm going to start at 50. We'll make our way down. If you catch a name that you want me to stop on, please let me know. 50. By the way, 50 cracks me up because I immediately think of him choking. Not choking, but choking someone else. Latrell Sprewell. Dude, he was like a flash one year. There was a while where he was like one of the baddest men in the period in the NBA. And then it just went.
It went crazy.
Yeah. Psycho.
49, Kevin McHale. See, that was the one where I was like, wow, Kevin McHale, 49? But then you go look back at his 1990s stats.
Garbage.
He's an 80s guy,
Yeah.
Dana Barros comes in at 48.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I thought, too. I was like, good for Dana Barros for making a list. Number 47 is Terry Porter. Number 46 is Ricky Pierce. 45 is John Starks.
Oh.
Number 44, and I'm very offended he's this low, is James Worthy. 43.
James Worthy's another guy, though. He's like an 80s guy.
Yeah, he is. I know, but he's my favorite basketball player of all time. So I
He's the worst player in the Hall of Fame.
King, you said to stop you. You know what's funny? I can't remember a single thing about James Worthy's game except fast break layups. Now you obviously know a lot more because you follow the Lakers. But I can't.
What he did best was finish a fast break.
Like, what else did he do? I know.
He had a great shot. He played great defense. He could shoot, could score. He just could score. Period. James.
All I remember was a perfect finish in the break, over and over and over.
You know what? When you got a guard like Magic,
yeah,
all you need to be is a finisher. And there was nobody quite like James. Like James was a beast. All right, Eddie Jones, who was really good for a while.
What?
Another guy I thought that was going to be really good, and then he didn't end up being really good. You know what I mean? I thought he had a chance to really go. Buck Williams, Anthony
Loved him.
Mason, Danny Manning. Danny Manning at number 40 is a great one because, man, Danny Manning at Kansas,
Yeah.
that year he had, that Final Four, whatever it was, that year was magical for him.
Yeah.
And then when he came to the NBA, I really thought Danny Manning had a chance. He's another guy that you're like, oh, I can't wait. And then
Clippers, man.
that's on gob.
The Clippers.
Yes, true. That's true. The Clippers they belong to that unity of teams where you go to die. The Jets, the Clippers, you know what I mean? Just organizations where if you really want to end somebody's career, you send them there. And that's pretty much what happened. So 39, Jeff Hornacek. Number 38, Larry Nance. Here's a good one. Number 37, Vin Baker. Man, what was the deal with Vin Baker? Vin Baker was like badass, and then he just went for nothing with the Celtics. He went to the Celtics and just quit. He didn't quit, but it looked like he quit. Do you guys? Is that what it was?
Yeah, no, Vin Baker was good, and he was like an all-star when I think he took a lot of people from surprise because he came from a small school. And then remember they had the lockout?
Yeah.
Remember the lockout year?
Yeah, Kemp got fat too from that.
Baker gained like 50 pounds or something like that. Like you'll have to you could fact check me, but in my head, that's what happened to Vin Baker.
That's what happened to Kemp. Sean Kemp came back from that. That's the truth. No, I swear to you, look it up. Sean Kemp came back and he was all soft. There was no muscle. They were like, what are you doing? He was like, I was just staying at home and eating, hanging out. Like he didn't work out. Sean Kemp. If you don't tell Sean Kemp what to do, he just doesn't do anything apparently. Other than impregnate as many women as he possibly can grab a hold of, because he's got like about 400 kids, I think. Give or take a couple. Going down to number 35 is Rod Strickland. 34. What's that?
Wait, we can't go past Rod Strickland.
All right, good.
So when I was coaching at Johnson & Wales, and so I was the assistant coach, and Jamie Benton was the head coach. Jamie Benton played at Boston College. He played with Dana, actually, and Michael Adams, which is pretty cool because he played with two guys like we're in the NBA. So you got long bus rides in D3. So we talk about who's the best finisher in the NBA. And his answer, honest to God, Rod Strickland. Best finisher in the NBA during that time. And because it came from him and he had so much more experience, like messing around with, like he was friends with Miss Richmond and shit. He's like Rod Strickland, like ball players always respected Rod Strickland, I think, more than fans do, because I don't know that his numbers ever got there. But Rod Strickland was like, if you ever hear these 90s guys do like interviews on one of these NBA TV shows and they start talking about guards, I guarantee you they're always going to mention Rod Strickland before some guys were a household name. So there's my Rod Strickland.
So you know what's I'm looking at his stats, right? And he may have just it almost seems like he timed it perfectly. He came in the NBA 88-89, averaged 8 points a game. By 1990, he was up to 14 points a game. The whole decade, he was between 14 and 19 points a game. Then as soon as 2000 hit, he was back in single digits.
So yeah, so his
he may have just nailed the decade.
He's a 90s guy.
Oh,
hey, 34 is Dan Marley.
Wow.
Overrated.
I wasn't
wow.
That's what I'm thinking too. I don't. What did he do? He hit 3-pointers, and what else did he do? He was so hyped up. I'm in my head. What did Dan Marley bring to a team other than coming off the bench and hitting threes?
But I mean, he hit threes, but if you look at his 3-point stats compared to what we're accustomed to now, bricks. He just hit a couple of bombs when Barkley was on the team in Phoenix, and we were all watching because it was Barkley against Jordan. So he made some big shots, and we were all like, "Ooh, look at Thunder Dan. He's got a cool nickname." Nah, he's way too high.
Yeah, right? Even just him there. All right, so number 33. This is a player that I, again, thought was going to be the real deal until he dressed up like a woman. Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson.
I thought Larry Johnson was going to be the thing. And then Grandmama happened.
Yep.
And it just went ugly fast. I think he got stuck on a team where he wasn't the best player on the team. And because Morning I thought was always better than he was. I don't know what you guys think, but what was it? Injuries? Like what really ended up Larry Johnson? I'm trying to think in my head because I won't Google it. Was it injuries that just made him fall off? Because he definitely fell off.
Well, part of it when he went to the Knicks, they were trying to win games like 55-50.
Yeah.
So his numbers almost need to be prorated. When he went to New York, you look like a Jedi Knight right now doing this. Yeah.
Fuck, he did it again. I forgot that I was going to do that. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yeah.
When he went to the Knicks, I thought he was a good player. He made some big shots, but they played such a complete brand of basketball that everybody's numbers were like 12 points a game.
And TJ, to prove your point, so I got his stats in front of me. His last year in Charlotte, 95-96, he averaged 20 and a half points.
All right.
His next year, first year in New York, 76 games, he averaged 12.8 points. They friggin' knocked off 45% of his scoring.
In the middle of his prime. Because they were like, yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're going to just get into a fist fight every time up and down the floor. That was an ugly time. I think the 90s were kind of an ugly time for NBA basketball. I think the 80s were so open, and I mean, obviously, much in the 90s, but
didn't the 90s lay the groundwork for this we're watching now? Because Houston was just 3 Olajuwon.
Yes.
And now it's just that on steroids. But they were just 3 Olajuwon.
You're so right. And as we get through this list, you'll notice it's really guard heavy. Like, and I already got like 3 or 4 that are in my head right now that are going to pop up because I know I hadn't hit Glenn Rice yet, and he was great in the 90s, just jacking threes. Kevin Johnson was jacking threes. Like these guys, that's when the 3. You know what it is? They moved the line in during that period of time.
Oh, that was awful.
It just made everybody a freaking 3-point shooter.
You know what? If they come up with the 4-point shot, I'm gonna quit.
Well, I'm done. I am
being
done.
A fan. Look, that's what that reminds me of. Moving in the 3-point line was like, oh, come on. They shoot where the pros shoot. It's supposed to be hard. You know what I mean? If they had like a 4-point shot, I'll give up. Like, I can't take that kind of stuff. That's ridiculous. All right, wait. So, number 32, Jason Kidd. Obviously. Great. 31, Derek Coleman. There's a guy.
Oh, wow.
There's a flash. There was a guy that flashed some sort of talent, and then again, I don't know what happened.
There's a list that exists right now where Derek Coleman is ahead of Jason Kidd, and it's about basketball.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right?
That's interesting.
So number 30, Glenn Rice. Of course. Number 29, Chris Webber. I think Webber's way too high. I think Webber should have been lower. I thought Webber was great in the 90s.
Yeah, me too. What number is he?
29.
Oh, wow.
28, Penny Hardaway. Should have been low again. But then again, how long was Penny good for? Because Penny was incredible. Then he got hurt and he wasn't incredible. So I don't know how long he lasted.
If he had 5 good years, I'd be surprised.
You know what, like the thing with him that I never forget, I think about it like almost weekly, is the little Penny commercial
With Chris Rock.
Is like Jordan said you have unlimited potential. MJ said you have unlimited potential. And I always think about that. And then look at what he actually did, and it's kind of sad.
Oh, Shaq will say that Penny was incredible. Yeah. I've heard Shaq talk about Penny like as if to say, like, you know, Penny was going to be something, and then you know,
Penny only had 2 seasons where he averaged over 20 points a game. 3 seasons when he averaged over 20 points a game. The rest are all teens.
That's crazy.
Kind of crazy.
So, all right, after him is Horace Grant.
Hold on. So they got Horace Grant again. I had a Chris Webber.
Wow.
Yep. And Jason Kidd.
But Webber got drafted. Now I know Webber was playing. What year did Webber get drafted?
Hold on.
93. So Webber got drafted in 93. He's behind Horace Grant as far as post players and forwards in the 90s. Nah.
That's 50th best from the 90s. That's what the list is.
I'll tell you what, though. Horace Grant made a boatload of money. Like, his contract after he left Chicago was like the highest I think one year he was like top 3 in the league.
Yeah.
That
was crazy.
One year. It's like, whoa.
He got overrated. He definitely did.
You know,
he definitely got overrated.
I'm looking at his stats now. His highest points per game was 15 in 93, 94. His highest rebounds per game, he had one season where he was at 11, one at 10, and a bunch of like nine point somethings. So he got. I remember that TJ. He broke the bank, but he played the full decade. That's probably helping. Whereas Weber,
yeah, I guess.
All right, 26 and 25. 26 is Chris Mullin. 25 is Mark Price. Mark Price is somebody that's forgotten about. Should get a little bit more rub. He had a couple of really good years, I thought.
Can I make a comment on Chris Mullin? One of the most impressive things I've ever heard about Chris Mullin is he was an alcoholic, but he was a beer drinking alcoholic. So he would kill like 2-4s to stay drunk as an alcoholic who only drinks beer. That's one of the most I will never forget that about Chris Mullin. So I give him props for that.
That's a lot. That's Wade Boggs territory right there.
Yeah.
All right, so number 24, Dominique Wilkins. See, now we're getting into names that it's like, yeah, these are guys that I know were big.
So Dominique had some of his best years in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So Dominique in the 90s, we must be talking about early 90s. I think Dominique is one of the most underrated players like of our lifetime. Like
because the team he was on, I think.
But they didn't suck though. Like they really
you're right.
They didn't suck. They were always competitive, and we got to watch a lot of TBS. But to me, if Jordan doesn't exist, never born, Dominique's going to have like 7 scoring titles.
Yeah,
there were a lot of years where he finished second or third in scoring to MJ, and he was explosive and exciting to watch. So, I bet you Dominique's on the list in the 80s and the 90s. That's how long he scored for.
His jumper was somewhat the suspect of his game, I thought. Right? Out of everything that he did, I thought that is just his knockdown jumper, me, with him. 23, love him. Detlef Schrempf.
I can't believe he's this high.
Look at his stats. That was what got me. He's one of those guys that, like, I don't think anybody really knew the stats he was putting in per night. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why he didn't get maybe just the way he looks, how goofy looking. He looks like Woodstock, the bird from the Charlie Brown series.
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of.
He played the whole decade. He averaged between 15 and 19 points for 10 seasons in a row.
In rebounds?
Total rebounds, 8, somewhere between between 6 and 9 per for the whole decade. Not bad. I know he hit some threes. Yeah.
Right? He just numbed himself in, I guess.
You know what
he never comes up when we talk about like European players that kind of were trailblazers. How come Detlef never comes up?
I don't know. Because people are like right now, me mentioned him in this list, and we're all going, yeah.
I like Detlef. Yeah.
People just didn't pay him as much mind as he should have. All right. 22, Mookie Blaylock.
What?
That was the original name of Pearl Jam. They wanted to be called Mookie Blaylock. I don't know if you guys know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, before they became Pearl Jam. Thank God they went to Pearl Jam.
Mookie out of jail yet?
Who?
Mookie Blaylock. I know he got arrested. I know he was in jail. He was a good point guard. Like he was solid. I know he was a good defender. He had the reputation of being a real defender. I have a feeling he's going to be one of those guys that played the whole decade, so his numbers stack up higher than what his game is.
Yeah, but, that's exactly it, TJ. You nailed it. And he his steals were over 2 for the whole decade. At some points, 2.5, 2.7. He led the league 2 years in a row. His nickname is apparently the Thief.
Yeah, never heard that.
Exactly. But see, this is what worries me about my memory of old school basketball, because I'm hearing these names and I'm like, I don't even remember this person. They were one of the best 50 players in the decade. So,
who do you not remember? Who didn't you remember?
I did not remember. Like Detlef Schrempf. If you said to me, give me name amazing basketball players in the 90s, I would have never said Detlef Schrempf. I probably would have never said Mookie Blaylock. I would have never said Jeff Hornacek.
You might have, though, because once you start going, first of all, 50 is a big number of players. That's a long list. When you start going team by team, you would have got to Seattle eventually and been like, who's their 3 best players?
Yeah, but you might have said Gary Payton, Sean Kemp,
and Schrempf.
Ray Allen.
Yeah, but still, you got to go
Seattle.
I
love it.
All right. 21, Alonzo Mourning. 20, Kevin Johnson. How good was Kevin Johnson for a while?
Oh,
Talk
amazing.
to me. Was he amazing or overhyped? I don't know where it.
I think he was better than Stockton at that time. Like he was good. KJ was good.
Yeah.
Small.
What was he at his best? Kev, do you have his numbers?
Hey, he
Like,
had
what was
from
KJ at his
looking
best?
at from 90 on. He in 90 91 22 points, 22 points, 10 assists. Next year, 20 points, 11 assists, 16 points, 8 assists, 20 points, 10 assists, 15 points, 8 assists, 19 points, 9 assists, 20 points, 9 assists. You know, so he had a great
Longevity,
like
too.
run.
Yeah. The 90s were kind to Kevin Johnson.
Yeah.
Number 19, Mitch Richmond.
Oh, I love him.
Love him.
Love Mitch Richmond.
Love him.
Yes. Agreed. Number 18, Sean Kemp. There's the other.
There he is.
Yeah. Number 17, I should have put it. They should have just put him next to him. Tim Hardaway. Like
Love
we
him,
literally
too.
just went like the three of them are all right here. We just
You're
went
right.
through them. Mullen, Mitch Richmond, and Hardaway. All right. So number 16, Grant Hill.
I can't. I
No.
can't. Grant Hill. Can someone tell me about Grant Hill? Maybe I don't understand this game that I talk about.
I don't understand it either.
All right, I'll tell you about it because I believe in Grant. Grant Hill was unfucking believable when he came out of Duke. That first year in Detroit, Grant was getting better as he played. He's another one of those guys. Everyone who played with him would say how he was getting better. Like he's so good that he's made it through some of the worst injuries. If he was a horse, he would have been shot at least 6 7 times.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, aren't we talking about results? Like, did the guy play? I bet you he didn't make 5 All-Star games. And I bet you he didn't. I'm not even gonna look. I bet you he made.
If Kev brings up his 90s numbers, I'm willing to bet you his 90s numbers are going to be pretty
Okay,
damn,
so
like,
all right, so
Station.
here they are. So his first year was 94, 95. So he missed the first few years of the decade. 94, 95, 20 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds.
it's a rookie.
95, 96, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Next year, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. His stats hold up better than I thought. 97, 98, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. 98, 99, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. 99, 2000, 26, 7 and 5. And the fucked up thing is that's his last great year. 2000, 2001, he's down to 14 points. He's in his teens for the rest of his career.
I mean,
Those are pretty good numbers.
if you want to put him on a list for the 90s by the fact that he had a good run in the late 90s, it's better than I thought it was. But when I see this guy show up on top 25 lists, it really burst my bubble.
Yeah,
I thought him top 25. I agree with you on that.
Perhaps he could have been. I don't know. I was never a fan of him ever. Maybe it's a Duke thing. I don't know.
It might be Duke thing.
But he and maybe it was because Detroit was so terrible during his entire run there. But yeah,
no, I agree, TJ.
never.
Grant had the goods, dude. That's one guy that I was stick by. Like watching him when I was younger. Like he was really good, Grant Hill. What a shame the injuries he went through. Like he went through a bunch. Number 15. So we're in the top 15, guys. 15, Joe Dumars. Number 14, Clyde Drexler. Number 13, Reggie Miller. Number 12, Patrick Ewing. Number 11, Dikembe Mutombo.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Mutombo's ahead of Ewing?
By one spot.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I was just about to say Ewings need to be higher on this list.
On the 90s, so watch. Look at the 90s. Ewing had some of the 80s. His first couple of years. I think in the 90s, Ewing slipped a little compared to Dikembe. Just in the 90s.
Come on. Ewing was the entire decade. Ewing all the way up until 97, 98 was over 20 points a game. Then he went to 17, then 15.
All right, but rebounds, blocks.
Mutombo,
Ewing made 8 All-Star berths in the 90s.
Yeah, come on. Mutombo?
I mean, Mutombo.
There's going to be a reason they put him there, though, right? I mean,
anti-Ewing bias.
But why would they put him right there? The Kembe had to do something, right?
Yeah, he blocked a lot of shots.
and waved his finger and talked like Cookie Monster.
He
Come
did.
on, I don't know. That's probably the one that I disagree with the most.
We're in we now hit the top 10. Ready? Top 10 players from the 90s. Number 10, Gary Payton.
Solid.
Number 9, Shaquille O'Neal. So he's in front of the Kembe and Pat Ewing. Now that's one that Stu would take to the mattresses because he thinks that Ewing was better than
I think.
Shaq.
Well, I mean, Shaq was a better player than Ewing overall, but I think of Shaq as a 2000s player
Yeah.
as opposed to a 90s player.
When did he start though? His rookie year was what?
I'm looking right now. What is
92. But Shaq
What?
played forever.
his rookie year? Rookie year was 93. That's crazy though, because he jumped up. His scoring, his rookie year was 23. Then it was 29, 29, 26, 26, 28, 26, 30, 29. I mean, he crushed it.
I never saw a guy who, if he caught it in the lane, it was over. If he caught it in one spot, you're done because he's going to turn on you and just dunk, and it is not a thing you can do about it. Unbelievable in that sense. All right, number 8. Here's where it gets great. Dennis Rodman.
Wow.
Love that pick.
Ahead of Shaq.
I love that he's ahead of Shaq.
Wow.
How cool was Rodman though? Like really,
Oh, yeah.
he's just cool, dude. No, there's no guy in the league that plays like him. He's such a one of a kind thing. He's like the damn Ichiro of basketball, where he has this skill that no one else has, and it's marvelous to watch. And even though he went kind of cuckoo, it added to the legacy. But just from a basketball standpoint, he was cool in Detroit. He was cool in the Spurs. He was cool in Chicago. Like wherever Dennis Rodman was, the team was freaking loaded and they were good. And it was because he was so unselfish. What a cool.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't
He
want
led
him
the
as a
league
teammate?
in rebounding 7 years in a row, from 92, 93 to 97, 98. And there was all over. Everyone was over 15 rebounds per game. That's absolutely insane.
You know, as a side note, you mentioned Ichiro. And whenever I think of Ichiro, I always think of this one thing, an interview with Gary Sheffield, where Sheffield said that, anybody could do what Ichiro is doing. I'm trying to hit home runs. I was like, now Gary's my man because nobody swung as mean a bat as he did.
Never.
Like he was swinging like he was trying to kill you and your whole family. But no, for real. That's why I loved him. I got a jersey. He's like one of the only jerseys I got at the Yankees. But Ichiro was like a singles hitter, and Sheffield claimed that like a lot of those guys could just shorten their swing and chop it down. And I'm like, is it really that easy, Gary? Is it really?
Yeah, I'm gonna say hard. I'm gonna take a hard no on that, Gary.
Exactly. All right. So number 7, Charles Barkley.
Sure.
Here's one for me to argue all day long. Number 6, Scottie Pippen. No freaking way is he in front of Barkley. No way is Scottie Pippen in front of Barkley. No way is Scottie Pippen at 6. I'm sorry.
Don't forget Barkley. Barkley had some of his best years were in the 80s. He was in Stockton's draft in the 80s.
Yeah, his first year was 84, 85.
Yeah. So peak year was 92, 93 when they went to the finals. And then he kind of slowed down a bit from there. I mean, he's in the top 10.
Still, but Pippen, I get an issue with him, I guess. All right, so 6 is Pippen. Here's the 5. Top 5 basketball players from the 90s. Number 5, John Stockton. Now, I would believe he was there for what? 3 decades? How long was Stockton in the NBA? Because if he's that high in the 90s, he was that high in the 80s, right? Like
a long time.
He played 85 to 2003.
Wow. Christ. All right, so number 4, Hakeem Olajuwon.
4.
Number 3, I don't like this one already. Number 3, Karl Malone.
Of course.
Why is he there? If you don't have Stockton, you don't have Malone. Like, you just wouldn't have Malone being who he was. He would have been.
No, but I mean, I can see Malone. Who the hell is
3?
I know who's second. It's got to be David Robinson. It's got to be second.
Number 2, David Robinson.
Wow, TJ.
And number 1, Michael Jordan. Yep.
So even though Olajuwon won,
Yeah, well, he started in the Olympics. He had a championship, Twin Towers, and then he was the starting center for the Dream Team. That's something. I'm trying to think of something.
I'll tell you what though, Robinson. I always rank those guys Elijah Ewing Robinson. Like that's like my way of ranking them. But Robinson's game probably carries over to this NBA. I mean, he was agile. He could shoot it. He was long.
Yep.
He was built like it was like a friggin' Marvel drawing.
Yep.
What's Ewing's nickname?
It's just Ewing.
Yeah.
Is that- Well, David Robinson's nickname is the Admiral. So
Yep.
Case closed. How do you compete with the Admiral?
Well, what's Akeem? He was
The Dream.
Keeping the dream.
Akeem the Dream. That's not that great. It just rhymes. All right. Let's move on. What's that?
90s hoops.
90s.
See, the other thing with Robinson, again, his first year was 89-90. So he peaked. He got young. He was 25 in 1990. So he had timed it out perfectly, like for crazy stats for the whole decade. I think Olajuwon's Twin Towers thing was in 86.
Right.
Ralph
So-
Sampson, of all people, is the other guy, too.
Yeah, who I loved. Love Ralph Sampson.
Old guys, tall guys age horribly, huh? Like just it seems like the taller you are, the worse things you get. Like all kinds of problems. So he's just
But
old to be a tall guy.
Larry Bird said it. Human beings weren't meant to be this tall.
All right, Kev.
No,
You
I was
think
going to
so?
say, I was looking at Olajuwon. His stats really didn't fall off till like 97, 98. So
Well,
I'm a little surprised.
He might be my favorite center of all time. If I had to pick one, like I'm a Shaq guy, but if I had to pick a center, it might be Olajuwon because I loved his skill set. Like he had he had some moves and footwork that centers still can't pull off. Like he had some moves that you still can't see people do. He just, I don't know. To me, he was that good. Let's do the Friday game picks
Well, hold on.
because it's 9:20 at night. Kev, can you come up with the spreads for the Friday picks?
Yeah,
Or want me to do it?
Give me a second. You can do your thing. Kill some dead air.
All right.
We've got we got Brooklyn and the Lakers tonight.
Ooh.
Lakers are given 3 points.
All right.
Is everyone playing or is somebody sitting because it's their rest day?
As far as I know, everybody's their rest day. Isn't it crazy the world we live in? But
Awful. It's awful. That's awful. The rest days.
But I think Brooklyn shows up tonight. I think Brooklyn's going to win. So I would give the 3 points, and I would take the points and take Brooklyn, and then the Heat and the Kings. That's pretty much a push. I think Sacramento's giving a point.
Take
That's
Sack at
tough.
home. I'll take Sack at home.
Yeah, probably take Sack at home or
It's
dodge
only
it.
one, right?
I can't figure out Miami or Sacramento. So
Nope. Or the T-Wolves. I'm gonna fucking keep saying that. The Timberwolves. Are they bad or did they just lose really close? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Christ almighty, can they just lose by like 6 points? All right. Sorry. Kev, did you pull up Friday yet?
Yeah, see, I'm not seeing most of the game. I'm only seeing 2 games, which is wrong. I don't know if these other ones don't have lines or what.
All right, so we'll do the lines that we have, and the other ones we'll just pick the teams, right? We'll pick the winner at a roundabout. I'll even give you like what I think they'll win by. That way we'll all kind of give our own opinion on that if we have to. Warriors
Yeah, so-
at the Magic.
And no
You
line.
have to pick that?
No, I don't see a line.
All right. I'll look up the line while I do this. I would take the Warriors in that game as long as it wasn't like, what, over 10?
yeah, Warriors are going to win that game by 5 or more. I don't think the spread will be 10. I wonder if Aaron Gordon is on the way out in Orlando. I think that if they're trying to rebuild, that's the guy that he can get the most back. I don't think teams are lining up for what's his name, Vucevic. So I wonder where Orlando is right now. Like, are they trying to dismantle it? This NBA trade deadline, just like every NBA trade deadline, but this NBA trade deadline is gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be wacky. It's all hell. All right, I got Kev, I got 3 bets. I got 3 picks here. I think I got one more than you. All right, I got Detroit at Memphis. Where is that? Can anybody see that?
Memphis is given 5.
Yeah, I got Memphis giving 5. But why did I not have that on my fucking page that I wrote?
I'm gonna
All right,
give
Pistons, Grizzlies. Yep, I got Memphis giving 5 at home against the Pistons.
give the 5.
You like Memphis too?
Well, Detroit's just terrible. They're 2-12. They're 2-12 on the road. Jaws back. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Suns are -2.5 at New Orleans. That's a tough one to figure out. I swear to you, because I don't understand either one of these teams. I'm having a hard time with these teams. Like, for real, which one's going to be good? Like, which one's going to be?
Here's why I'm going to take Phoenix is because I don't think Zion's going to be able to get to the basket with 8 and down there. Phoenix is big in the paint, and I think Zion will have to take too many jump shots to win. So that's the logic. But you're right, Mike. I can't figure out either one of these teams. I think Phoenix is better. I thought the Pelicans would be better. They're not. So here we are. Take Phoenix. Lay the 2.
Mike, what's the line you have? 2?
2.5. The Suns.
All right, yeah, I'll go Phoenix.
I have the Bucks -11 at the Thunder. I mean, at home against the Thunder. It's 11.
Well, last I checked, the Bucks didn't show up tonight, so they'll probably come out tomorrow night and play well. I think they're getting blown out right now by Toronto. So that'll be the second night of a back-to-back. They're not going to lose 2 games in a back-to-back. So I would take the Bucks, lay the points.
It's what, 11?
11, though. You know what I mean?
That's a big number.
Chris Crow, that's a lot.
Milwaukee blows teams out.
You know what it is? That's where I need to do more of my gambling studying on the teams that will blow a team out as opposed to certain teams that kind of coast.
Like
because that's what it comes down to at the end of the game. Some of these teams have this like coasting like mode, whereas others have younger guys who are still playing it like as if it's like the second quarter.
Well,
does that make any sense? Like, if you guys notice that, like at the end,
that's what makes NBA basketball so difficult because you feel pretty good.
It's a spread
into the third, and then some teams will let you walk right back in, but win the game because they're so businesslike and they get the win as a win as a win. And then you got other teams that if they're up by 12, they win by 22.
Yep.
So yeah, the Bucks will win those teams.
It's literally that kind of stuff. So
Utah will.
Last games that we should look for tomorrow that I think are big games. I don't have the spreads on them, but let's just talk about them really quick. Hawks, Celtics. Do the C's win this game tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't know if they can win. If they're going to win the game, I don't like the way Boston looks right now. I think I think Brad Stevens is on the hot seat. Do I think Atlanta's going to beat him? I don't know, but I don't think he's Boston at all.
I see an upset tomorrow because the Celtics are doing that sort of thing where I feel like they're going to need like a game to kind of bottom out, and then there'll be some turmoil and you'll get some change. Like I see this is I don't want to call it a trap game because that's not what it is, but I can see the Hawks being extremely competitive in this game because I think the Celtics are trying to find themselves.
ESPN's telling me that Boston's a 4.5 point favorite. I mean, whatever I normally bet in a game, I'll probably bet double on Atlanta. Because I don't think there's any chance that Boston goes in there and Boston wins by more than 5. No way. Atlanta's going to play with them. They think they can beat them.
That's what I'm saying.
Didn't they beat them recently? Like I think Boston's in serious trouble.
It could be.
And I think TJ, I agree with you. I think Brad Stevens. I think the act got old or something because I don't understand how they have Tatum and Brown and Kemba Walker, who's obviously coming off injury and all that. But they just don't look good, and they don't have depth, and they just I don't think those two are good enough to win a championship. And I think they have a lot of really hard questions to answer. And this season is just the beginning of that. I
feel bad because Stevens is the one that's going to take the fall, but that roster is just not built properly.
No,
it's not. I feel like Danny Ainge is the one that should be taking the fall.
Yes,
the guy's been here for 20 years. He's got 1 ring. He did a good job drafting Brown and Tatum. Awesome, fine, terrific. Congratulations. He made a mistake by letting Rozier go. He made a mistake by signing Gordon Hayward. He made a mistake trying to sign Jeff Teague to provide depth. He's like 40.
If his good buddy Kevin McHale didn't gift wrap him friggin' what's his face, he might not have even a single ring.
Right, but Brad's going to take the floor. You watch. And there's not a coach in the league. Eric Spoelstra couldn't win with that roster with no bench. Like, there's just nothing happening down there. And they expect me to get excited about the kid who's like my size, Pritchett. Like, he is what he is, man. He's cool. He's TJ McConnell B+. But to put that team together and stop, you're gonna waste Brown and Tatum, and what's gonna happen is Tatum's gonna say, "F, I'm out of here."
Yeah, I'm out.
Yep.
I agree with you.
So
All right.
before you move on, King, sorry. You mentioned Kevin Garnett. Have either of you guys seen Uncut Gems?
No, we didn't see the movie with Adam
Watch
Sandler.
it this weekend. Watch it before we meet next time. Garnett's in it. It's about Adam Sandler is a degenerate gambler who works has a diamond shop in New York City. Watch the movie because of Garnett, but you'll love it as gambling people.
Outstanding.
I heard it was a good one.
Always welcome.
So, all right. So here are the games that just to end on marquee games to me. Jazz Clippers. That's going to be a great game.
Oh,
that's a game I want to watch. Friday night.
Yes.
Bulls Sixers. That sounds kind of clumsy, but I just like seeing those two teams play. That's comfort zone for me. Like that's background. Perfect.
I don't know if Simmons is going to play. Keep an eye on that. Don't touch that game if Simmons doesn't play.
How about the Nuggets Cavs? That's gonna be a good game. Sexton is really. I mean, there's some. I like young teams that have players.
I'll tell you what, Utah Clippers is going to be like a damn playoff game.
What's that?
Because Utah is going to go all out.
Yeah, Utah.
All out.
If I'm Utah, I'm feeling disrespected because you look at power rankings list and they'll be fifth. Like it'll be like Lakers, Clippers, Sixers, Bucks, and Utah too. And it's like, wait a minute. They're like 20. They're on a pace for like a 71 win pace right now.
Yeah.
With a 10-point differential against the spread in the last 20 games, they're 18-1-1. So they're coming in to win. And every time you see a list, they'll be like, "Oh, Utah's fourth."
Well, here's the thing. Like, okay, TJ. So you answer the question. Do you think everyone? The whole reason is because everyone thinks when it comes down to it, the Lakers can just turn it on and blow them out, and the Clippers can turn it on. Do you think Utah is good enough to compete with them in the playoffs? No one does. That's why they're treating them like almost disrespecting them.
Right. I get it. I mean, they got 6 guys averaging double figures. They're a well-constructed team. They're a well-coached team. But at the end of the day, their best player is not better than LeBron, and their best player is not better than Kawhi, and their best player is not better than So in a series, they're not going to get swept. They won't embarrass themselves. They're not the kind of 1 seed that'll lose in the first round at all. But yeah, I mean, if you're asking me, am I picking them in a bracket? No, I'm not.
Yeah, see, well, there you go. And that's why they're getting disrespected. You just disrespected them.
I did. And that's why they're going to come out tomorrow night and ball. Because I'm rooting for them. I really am rooting for them.
Hey, last game I want opinion on because this is another one of those games that no matter what the spread is tomorrow, I'm going to look at it and I'm not going to know who to pick. And that's the Raptors and the T-Wolves.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, that right there is it makes me feel bad. It makes me feel like I don't know sports. It makes me feel like I don't know basketball. It hurts me deep because I have no friggin' clue what these two teams are going to do tomorrow. Right? Like, I don't know. I would think the Raptors would win this.
Common sense would tell you the Raptors should win it, right? Especially if they're up 15 on Milwaukee right now. But do you trust the Raptors? I don't.
No, because the T-Wolves play everybody close.
Yeah.
And they have – I look at the team, and we talked about this last week. You look at the team, and you say they have talent. They just don't win any effing games. I don't know.
They beat the Lakers? They beat the Lakers, right, last week? No, am I right?
I'm pretty sure they had a good win last week. I don't think it was the Lakers.
I think it might have been the Lakers.
I thought they lost to the Lakers in overtime. I thought they took it to overtime and lost.
That is correct. Well, they beat the Raptors. That was their good win.
That's what I would want to know, though. I think they might have beat them because I remember the game. I remember thinking, "What the Christ with the friggin' Wolves? Like the T-Wolves? Like how am I gonna?"
They lost to the Lakers.
All right, they lost.
Yeah, it was overtime. But TJ, what you just said, but you said they beat the Raptors last week, so Toronto has to get revenge this week.
In Toronto, yeah, it's hard to beat a team twice in a row. It seems. But then again, we're talking about the worst team in the Western Conference. So I don't know.
True. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up your picks so that we can give those out again, and then we'll put them up on the site tomorrow. If TJ, if you just want to message me your picks tomorrow, I'll put them up for you on the website because I realize you're one of those people that's he's just not an Instagram, Twitter type of guy. So
I've never been on Instagram ever in my life.
That's what I'm saying. Just give it to me, and I'll put it up on the website for you. So what we're going with is this: we tell you to take the the Nets tonight, right? +3. We all agreed on that, right? We like the Suns -2.5. We like the Hawks +5, right, against the Celtics. If it's that high, we all like the Grizzlies -5 against the Pistons. I think we all like the Bucks -11 against the Thunder. And then I didn't hear anybody really pick out of the Jazz and Clippers. That wasn't really – we didn't have a spread, so I didn't get anybody to find. I think the Jazz go in there and win and show that they're better. They're probably not obviously going to be underdogs. Clippers probably be like a, 3-4 point favorite?
I would say.
There's two kinds of games I don't like to bet on, right? One of them is when there's two teams that I just have absolutely no idea what the fuck's going to happen, right? And I'm just throwing money into the sky. But the other kind of game I don't like to bet on is a game like that one, the Clippers and Jazz, because I just want to sit there and watch the game and not have that little birdie in the back of my head keeping track of a point spread. I just want to watch the ball game because it's going to be a great game.
True. That is going to be – I can't wait for that game on a Friday.
I'm going to bet the Jazz on that one. If it's over 2, I'll definitely bet the Jazz. If it's 1.5, I might just bet like Jazz money line because I think that's going to be a great game.
It is going to be fun to watch. There's a couple games tomorrow night, and then even Saturday. I'm not going over. We'll go over them, whatever. But even Saturday, there's a lot of great games this weekend. The NBA has definitely stepped it up. I thought they might actually go down after last year, that whole bubble thing, that whole ridiculous bubble thing. But I don't know. I like it. I like how they came out of it. We are well over the hour. What's that?
Good night, gentlemen.
What'd you say? You went like this. That either means boobs or you're balancing something.
What's happening now is teams are starting to sort themselves out. So when you get a good matchup, you know it's a good matchup.
Kev?
There's
just froze on boobs.
I don't know, boobs? TJ, I wish we had more time because I heard something today that I want your opinion on, maybe for next week, about bubble teams. The teams in the bubble last year are benefiting shooters for whatever reason, and I don't know why that is, and it just kind of threw me off when I heard it. So maybe you can illuminate me next week on why the bubble benefited shooters. I don't know.
All right, yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, I like that topic. Why the bubble benefited shooters? It's easy.
You used Illuminate to open the show, and you used Illuminate to close the show. That was incredible, Kev. Nice job with the word illuminate.
Good night, guys.
Hey, boobs. So we will put up the new scores, but our picks tomorrow. I will make sure that they're up on Saturday and Sunday. I'll make sure for those days I'll have them up by noon, before noon. Boobs. We will get the right picks in. Do you guys have anything to say before we go? TJ.
No, that's it. Enjoy the weekend. We got nothing to do up here besides watch sports.
True that. Boobs. Hey, this was Legit Fantasy Basketball. Please like our videos, subscribe. More importantly, leave a comment. Even if it just says comment, it helps with the algorithms to put us in other people's feeds. We appreciate the help. This Sunday, we actually have 2 shows. We have football in the morning at 11 a.m. and then we have Legit Paranormal at night at 7 o'clock, and that's been bonkers. Been incredibly fun, but bonkers.
Of course, he froze right now.
Yeah, right at as he's
right
walking
at the
outside.
second. We got to get this guy.
But hopefully we're in for adding Monday, right?
Yes.
You didn't hear the first part. Did you hear the first part?
Edition on Monday.
Yeah. You were making fun of my Wi-Fi, and then I said Monday.
Yeah, we got to get to a new router.
Dude, I fixed the friggin' thing today. I thought I did, and I got the bars going. It's just that every now and then when I hear, it just drops, and then I lose you guys. So, you know how it is. It's fucking New England. It's the cold, and I guess I have horrible Wi-Fi. Whatever. This is me, Mike Lepre, for Coach TJ and the Genius Kev. This was Legit Fantasy Basketball from Legit Fantasy Sports. If you have any questions about picks this weekend or anything like that, feel free to contact us. We will respond. Again, it's Mike Lepre with Legit Fantasy Basketball. Enjoy your weekend. We are out.